Good morning, it's DurgaMata here, wearing my colourful t-shirt today because I'm going to go to the gym. I've been meaning to go, and it's so easy to put it off because there are other immediate things you have to do. But if we don't look after our health, then we're not going to get any of the things done. So today is the 15th of May, and the first thing I'm going to do is show you the nature that I brought up, which is quite interesting. In my garden, I have this. See how massive and beautiful the leaves are? It's a horse chestnut tree leaf. And it's growing self-sown in the front garden where there's no room for a horse chestnut tree to grow. So I wasn't distraught to actually bring a leaf in, because I love every leaf because it's getting oxygen into the atmosphere and combating the climate change and making the earth a bit more sustainable. But that tree is going to have to actually be cut right back to sort of small hedge height. At the moment it's roof height because it's not growing where it needs to. I don't know if you heard Sherpa just joining us on the bed. Let me show you Sherpa. There you go. Hey. And interestingly, when the flowers were out, I drew the horse chestnut flowers. And when I was coming back from town yesterday at Barnes Station, I brought you a horse chestnut flower. As you can see, it is in its later years, and you can see one little tiny conker just beginning to form here. Let me show you if I can. Do you see? That one's growing a conker, and that one's growing a conker. Horse chestnut tree, conker tree. And they'll be big and brown and gorgeous in the autumn. And the other thing I bought when I was walking down there is a sycamore flower. You can see lots of holes in the leaves because the caterpillars are busy. I did check that there's no caterpillars on this one. So those are the bits of nature I've got for you. I think it'll have paused just there because I was moving the phone and I pressed the wrong bit. Now Misty's trying to come up, one of the other tabby cats. Here she goes. Hello, you want to come on the camera? Yay. No, go back down the bed because I can't really get on when you're smack in front of my nose. So then it comes to the poem. Every morning I like to share some nature and I like to share a bit of inspiration. And when I was looking for the breathing poem yesterday, the quotation by Thich Nhat Hanh, I found this one. And it determined what mindfulness exercise we're going to do today. Drink your tea slowly and reverently, as if it is the axis on which the world revolves. Slowly and evenly, without rushing towards the future. Drink your tea slowly and reverently, as if it is the axis on which the world revolves. Slowly, evenly, without rushing towards the future. So that's the bit of nature and the poem, and it determined what I'm going to do this morning. I'm not quite sure how I will do it, because one reason why I'm later than I'd intended with my live is that the phone had run out of power. The phone's got a problem with its socket, so I've got a new wireless device, and for some reason the phone had moved off it. My guess is it was the cats. Always blame the cats. so I had to wait till it charged up enough. I'm having a cup of tea as my mindfulness exercise. So, the first thing I do when I'm going to do a mindfulness exercise is reflect on my body and make sure I've looked after it. Do a few stretches and twists. This is my scheme. You won't find it in any books. But I like to actually acknowledge and respect my body before I sit still for 5 or 10 minutes doing the mindfulness exercise. And then I will draw my attention to my body. Sit upright. Imagine a thread lifting your spine, lifting you from the top of your head towards the sky. It's good to have an upright back. And then take your attention to your body and notice how strong and warm and solid it is. Notice the way that gravity pulls down and the weight of your body rests, maybe on your bottom or your feet if they're on the floor. And next, take your attention to your breath. Misty, I said don't come close. Look. Now, that's a good experience because in mindfulness, there are 2 sides to the mindfulness bird, as I've said before. It's a bird with 2 wings, and the first wing, you bring your attention to here and now, and the second, you bring your attention, make sure that it's kind, compassionate, loving, self-giving, and no criticism or judgment. And when you're doing a mindfulness exercise, if something disturbs you and takes your mind away from the exercise, notice that. So Misty came climbing up. She wanted to get closer. She'd be rubbing her head against the phone and making it difficult for me to concentrate. So I had to distract my attention and persuade her to go further down the bed. She's actually licking her sister at the moment, which is quite cute. I'll just show you that. Misty and Sherpa. Mutual grooming session in process. So when you notice your mind going into some other direction when you're trying to do your mindfulness exercise, don't feel, oh no, I'm messing up my mindfulness exercise, I'm no good at this. No criticism. Simply be aware and notice, bring your attention back. And that's the exercise which actually strengthens your neocortex and helps your brain to grow more circuits and more cells in your brain, which is one of the reasons why mindfulness is such an excellent exercise, because it rewires our brain in a strong way. Right, I've got my mind back again. I'm in my mindfulness exercise and I've taken my attention to my body. I've made sure that it's nice and relaxed and resting comfortably, but not so comfortably you're going to go to sleep. And then take your attention to the exercise of the moment, which for me, thanks to Thich Nhat Hanh, is drinking a cup of tea. Now you'll get it. Delicate exercise, because my place for doing the live videos is sitting on my bed, and I don't want to spill the tea on my bed. So the first thing you do is you notice it, you look at it, and you look at there's a few bubbles on the surface. Look at the cup. The cup is one of my favourite. It was my mother's. She lived to the ripe age of 99. And I'm noticing the colour, and I'm also noticing the way that it reflects the light from the surface of the tea. And I'm also noticing the temperature of the cup. I can't show you by putting my hand against it because the hand is holding the phone, but I'm holding the cup against my face to feel the warmth of it. Really pay attention. And then you notice the smell of it. And I like Earl Grey tea, so it has a fragrant aroma. And then touch your lips against the cup. And take the very first sip. And do it slowly and really notice what it feels like. The temperature, the texture, smooth texture of the cup. The way that as soon as you get some in your mouth, automatically the swallowing reflex comes in. It's really hard to slow it down so that you taste and savor what it's like in your mouth. I'm thinking of how they do the wine testing. I think they do something like that. And they don't actually swallow it, they spit it out again, but I'm not doing that with the tea. Sometimes it helps with mindfulness to actually close your eyes so that you can focus on the sensation more strongly. Or if you're doing a listening exercise, so you can hear more strongly, more clearly. And I'm noticing that as I drink the tea, it steams my glasses up. And I'm noticing how my breath adjusts to swallowing and drinking the tea. And now the cup's half empty, I'm noticing how the water moves, how the tea moves inside. If I can show you. There's a little heart on the side of the inside of the cup as well. I'm noticing the sound of the swallow that time. I've been doing more gentle sips and slow swallows, but that time I actually heard the swallow. I'll notice that more strongly next time. It goes ka-plonk. Oh, gone. Show you the 3 hearts. My favourite mug. And talking of favourite mugs, one of the things that can disturb our inner peace is when we have too much attachment, because if you've got too much attachment to something, then you're setting yourself up. Hi, Sally! Sally Quid Dragon, how lovely to meet you. Quid Dragon. I'm going to take a screenshot so I've got your name. Well, I've just finished doing the mindfulness exercise, and today I did a mindfulness exercise based on drinking a cup of tea. And it was inspired by a poem that I chose for today by Thich Nhat Hanh, which is, drink your tea slowly and reverently, as if it is the axis on which the world revolves. Slowly, evenly, without rushing towards the future. And there's one comment that I'll make on that, because my son's just done a very difficult technical job on fixing his dad's car. And he was a little bit miffed because he saved his dad quite a lot of money. It took him several days, a lot of experiment, a lot of research, a lot of talking to experts. And his dad didn't even really thank him. He just moved on to, now this needs done, and can you help me with that? And he was rushing towards the future. We need to savour the moment and actually appreciate ourselves and others for achievements before we move on to seeing what's next on the to-do list. So that's a comment I've got today. And then I'll show you the latest in my art. I make cards and I sell them to raise money for some families in Gaza who I know. And I'll show you the latest ones. This is actually a swallowtail butterfly that I did from a photograph. It's not one of my best, but I'm showing you anyway. If I can make sure hold it the same way. Very tricky this. You need a phone stand or a microphone, tripod. And this one I like better, but at the end of the day, everything and everyone has their qualities. So it's not like anything else is wrong or a mistake. But I like that one because I was kind of using a bit of a average sort of generalization rather than strictly looking at the photograph. Here's one that I did of I think it's probably a monarch butterfly, from a photograph I did a screenshot while I was watching a video. And this is kind of inspired by the Purple Emperor. Again, I was watching a video and I took a screenshot of the Purple Emperor, but I didn't actually concentrate on following it how it was. This was an interestingly shaped butterfly, where the bottom is set away from its body. The wings don't touch or come close to the body. And then we get to flowers. And that's a hibiscus, and it was pink. But by accident, when I was doing the Purple Emperor, I dropped some purple onto one of the petals. So then I had to make that look intentional. And I'm always interested in roses. So that's a rose with a bud. And this one, the problem with painting on silk is the gutter doesn't always block the fibres. So then the dye, which is liquid, runs. And I don't mind because it's part of the painting on silk. I always say that the silk paint plays with you and you play with the silk. So, my friend Sally Quilt Dragon, I would love to chat with you any other time, but this is my mindfulness frogs in my throat again. This is my mindfulness visit, my mindfulness live video of the morning, coming to a conclusion. And don't forget the cats. Here is Misty sitting right close. Ain't you, eh? And here is Sherpa having a wash. Don't know if you can see her properly. So, with love from me and the cats, have a great day. And I'll see you tomorrow morning with another mindfulness exercise, a bit of nature. I'll show you what I had this morning. A tree herself sown in my front garden, a horse chestnut tree. And its leaves are massive. it's doing a lot for the atmosphere. But I am going to have to cut it right back because there isn't space for a full tree to grow there. Bye. Have a great day.